Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today for the Digium Advantage Switchvox on-premise and cloud solutions. My name is Matthew Hilton. I am the Switchvox Product Marketing Manager here at Digium. Very briefly, let's talk about Asterisk, the platform from which Switchvox is built upon. And so Asterisk is a platform of tools to create your own solutions. So it's developer-centric, and I like to say it's some assembly required, batteries not included. Essentially meaning that it's a design-as-you-go platform. So if you're looking to design a solution, you're a programmer and you want to make a voicemail solution for somebody, or an auto attendant solution, or maybe even a full phone system itself, well, you can use Asterisk as the underlying software to do that. It's available on asterisk.org, and for those people that like to build their own stuff, Asterisk is a great platform. As I said, it's the world's leading open-source telephony platform. Now, Digium, on the other hand, has taken Asterisk and we've created Switchvox, which, as I mentioned earlier, is our turnkey unified communication solution. It's for anyone who wants a pre-built solution. It's a complete UC solution, meaning it has all the features and functions that you're looking for out of a phone system of today. And its configuration is required, but there's no programming required. So unlike Asterisk, where you need to build the entire platform yourself, Switchvox is already set up on the back end, so all you need to do is use our easy web user interface or our admin interface, point and click, and away you go. And we'll see exactly how easy it is in the next coming moments. So let's look at Switchvox itself and talk about how Switchvox focuses on your business, and you can focus on the business aspects to communicate and collaborate and not spend your time worrying about your PBX or your phone system. So at this point in the game, most communications vendors out there have feature parity, and it's never been this closely before. So really the point that Switchvox tries to make is that we're looking to solve your business challenges and not just provide a specific feature or function. Okay, and so how does Switchvox do that in comparison to some of the competition that's out there? Well, we have an easy, intuitive browser-based interface. So because our interface is designed for standard users to use and to manage, you don't have to know any special programming languages. You don't have to be a telephony expert or a legacy telephone expert in order to figure out how to use and maintain our solution. We have a simplified pricing model, so we don't have layers and layers of pricing and modules and this level of application, that level of application. Really, the pricing for Switchvox is straightforward. You have different options depending on if you're doing the software or the VMware version, or if you're using an appliance model or using our cloud solution. So I'm not going to go too much into the pricing, but I will just mention that while some others claim that they have very simple pricing, I think Switchvox is the most competitive in terms of the least number of line items and the most straightforward in terms of figuring out what you need to purchase. And part of that is the fact that all features are included with Switchvox. So whether or not you're looking for advanced auto attendants or IVRs, whether you're looking to add multiple call queues and different call routing options, well, all of those are included with Switchvox. You don't have any special fees or pricing for agents. Everything that we're going to mention here is included in the base price. And of course, finally, we use the same interface software across all of our platforms. So unlike some other competitive products that have purchased, say, a cloud version and then they kind of rebrand it as their own product, Switchvox has been built and designed so that it is the same exact platform, whether you're using an on-premise appliance, whether you're using our VMware virtualized version, or whether or not you're using Switchvox Cloud. And let's take a look at that interface and some of the features and functions that you get with Switchvox, and then we'll dive into our live tour. So, of course, we do still need to check those boxes. So we do allow Switchvox certainly works with traditional phone calls, so PSTN connectivity, whether it's a T1, PRI, B1, E1, POTS lines, Centrix lines, you name it, you can plug it into Switchvox. We also support SIP trunks as well, so if you're looking for VoIP connectivity into your PBX, we offer that as well. Again, there's no special cost associated with that. You don't need to buy a license to turn on SIP trunking or to enable POTS lines calling. As long as the hardware is there, you can support it. We also give everyone access to common features that sometimes are priced out with other vendors. So visual voicemail is included, contacts, favorites, directories, call logs and history and redial, as well as three-way calling and multi-party conferencing, and even including mobility and soft phone applications. So all of these are included in the base price, so there are no additional fees for that. Really empowering the user to work how they want to work, as opposed to how the phone system is set up or configured. So I've categorized a couple of the features that we'll talk about and we'll go through in more detail through our live demo. But some of the simple and powerful features that Switchvox comes with, again, we mentioned that simple browser-based interface. We have what we call our switchboard, which is our end-user call control application. So if you're looking to interact with your calls on your desktop or laptop, you can do it through a simple browser, which is application, which we call switchboard. It allows you to do things like place calls on hold, to transfer calls to other users, see what users are doing. And so rather than having to install an application on each desktop or laptop, your home PC, your office PC, everything is done right through your web browser. And of course, because our administration is done through that as well, we have the no nonsense, no programming required admin interface as well. So I've got a couple screenshots here just to show what this looks like, and we'll go into a live demo. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these next couple slides, but just so you can see the interface. Again, it's going to be very familiar to anybody that's used to poking around on the web or on the internet. Very simple menu-driven structure, and everything does have inline help as well. So you'll notice these little question marks as we go through at the top of each section. Those will give inline help in terms of if somebody needs help, for example, on the left side, setting up a call rule. Well, we can give them inline help to show them exactly what they need to do that. We have our switchboard, which we mentioned, and I'll show you this live, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time here either. However, we can see our current calls in the top left corner. We can see access to visual voicemail. And in this particular screen, we can see a bunch of call queues, so I can monitor what my account executives are doing, what my management team is doing, customer success, if I have permission to do so. So everything that's in Switchvox is also permissions-based as well. And lastly, in terms of administration, again, a lot of common tasks that sometimes used to take a lot of time become much more simple with Switchvox. So for example, creating a user and an extension on the system is as simple as entering the extension information, adding a password, and hitting save. So you don't actually have to worry about going to different modules and setting up the user first, and then setting up the phone, and then setting up the voicemail, and then the call queues. Everything actually comes through as just one particular setup instead of instructions. Again, everything you see here is in a native language, whichever you set, and that really helps to make things straightforward. And again, we try to label everything pretty non-technically. So here we're looking for the profile information, the phone settings, permissions for the user, so you don't necessarily have to know traditional TDM interfaces or legacy systems in terms of what their terminology used to be. Okay? And we also like to make sure that users can work together, because that certainly is a big part of today's unified communications solution. So we do offer the options for three-way calling, advanced conference rooms or conference bridges, as well as ad hoc simple conference rooms as well. So you can do things where you have pin-based calls. You can do open conference rooms where anybody that joins it can come in. And you can also do three-way calls right on the handset itself. So a lot of flexibility. Again, no additional modules or license fees here. Everything goes with the system. All right, and of course we also offer a softphone application for Android and iOS. So if you're on the go, we can certainly help with mobile communications and keeping you as plugged in as if you were in the office. So we have the softphone application. We have something called fixed mobile convergence, which you probably have heard kind of what it is about, but maybe you haven't heard it called fixed mobile convergence. And then we also have call rules, which are sort of an advanced version of Find Me, Follow Me. And I'll show you how those work when we do our live demo. And here's just a quick look at our softphone applications. So again, you can send and receive calls just like you're at your desk. These work for Android or iOS. And the nice thing is you can send in, because you can make calls as if you're from the office, you can actually hide your private cell phone number. So this is great for people that have to do a lot of interacting with customers or clients that do not want to give out a personal cell phone number. And the real beauty is you can do this over Wi-Fi, 4G, or LTE. So it'll take advantage of whatever the best data method is in order for the application to work properly. And of course, you do have access to your advanced call control. Again, it kind of mimics your desk phone, so you have access to three-way calling, transfers, holds, your contacts lists, as well as statuses and presence information as well. So we'll talk about fixed mode convergence in the demo and call rules in the demo. We also have call center controls as well. So if you're looking for call queues or IVRs or switchboard wallboards, we can show you those as well. And basically, let's show you a quick version of each of these. So for call control or automatic call distribution, these are not necessarily just for big help desks or support centers anymore. They can be used for something as simple as receptionists calling into their main, somebody calling into a main phone number. You can go ahead and send these calls out through a round robin or ring all group. You can do it in order, fewest answers calls, etc. And you also can set up caller experience information, so you can actually have them say, you are number X in line, your estimated wait time is 3 minutes. You can also play customized music on hold, as well as select where calls go if things have happened. For example, if somebody's been waiting in the queue for 30 seconds, where do you want to send that caller? We have one of the best IVR or auto attendant solutions I've ever used. Sorry about that. Just responding to somebody's question who's having trouble hearing us. Really, the two nice things about our auto attendant system is, one, it's extremely robust. You can play sounds, you can record sounds from callers, you can send emails to alert people what's happening. You can, of course, dial or send calls to other extensions or phone numbers. And you can interact with the phone system to make some custom integrations as well. We'll give you some examples on how this looks in the live demo. And of course, the other thing that I find really brilliant about this system is you don't have to know any special programming code. You don't have to know any special dial-ins to get to it. It's all in your native language. We can sort of see on this left screen here. I can see right away what all my actions are. I can see what all the options are. So if somebody presses star 1 or 2, and I can actually see what those other tails are off of it as well. So kind of like a tree, I can see if they press 1, it's going to go to this IVR that plays a couple sounds and then does a couple things. So we'll see that in our live demo as well. And of course, we have access to our call center wallboard or queue information, so we can see at a glance what the rest of our call queue users are doing. So we can see very quickly at a glance, for example, this sales wallboard. We can see how many calls are waiting in the queue. We can see the max time that somebody's been waiting, so 3 minutes, 48 seconds. This is customizable to show you how long someone's been waiting and whether or not that's important or not that they've been waiting that long. You can see how many analysts are logged in, how many are busy, how many are taken, excuse me, how many calls have been busy or taken, missed calls, abandoned calls, and average wait time. And then if you're a manager and you have permission to do so, you can actually do things like interact with the actual callers themselves. So if you wanted to go ahead and bump a call up in the queue, you can do that. If you want to send a call directly to a particular agent, you can do that as well. And you can also see the status of your agents. Perhaps you have a user or an agent that needs to be logged in. You can actually log them in right from here as well. And we're almost to the live demo, folks, so thanks for staying tuned. We also have some more features that go beyond voice to help you collaborate with coworkers or end users. So we have instant messaging, we have screen sharing, video chat, and again, everything is user-level permissions-based or preference-based. So this really helps users to work the way that they feel is the most critical to their business. And it also helps you to limit, if you're an administrator, who has access to what, so that people can't potentially make issues for you as an administrator. Just a couple more slides here, and then we'll get over to the live demo. So we do have IP phones to help you control the conversation and increase efficiency. Again, going with the ease of use here, our phones are designed to be easy to use, so they have essentially little processes that help you walk through complex tasks. So doing something like a transfer, when you press the transfer button, it'll ask you transfer to, and that way it's prompting you, okay, where do you want to transfer the call to? After you've completed that step, it's going to prompt you, well, do you want to dial that number? Do you want to cancel calling that other number? So it really is a really easy to use interface across our phones. They're all full color screens, all with HD quality voice. And they're either 10100 or gigabit with pass-through connections to so you can plug in a computer if you wish. And we also have our all-new Digium D80 IP phone, which is a full touchscreen design, as we can see here at the front of the pack. It's an HD screen. And despite it being our highest technology phone that we've ever produced, and really one of the highest high-tech phones out in the space, it's extremely cost-effective. It's about half of the retail price of most touchscreen phones, even those that have smaller screen sizes. And last but not least, I just want to quickly talk on the different deployment options you have with Switchvox. So you can deploy it your way, whether you want an on-premise appliance that has Switchvox pre-installed. Apologize again. So we have traditional appliances. So if you just want a piece of hardware you can install, it has everything in it, and you just plug it in and go. Well, we have our on-premise appliances. If you are currently using VMware and you'd like to have take advantage of that, or if you'd like to use VMware to not necessarily have a dedicated hardware appliance just for your phone system, well, we can provide you with Switchvox as a VMware optimized OVA file. And of course, we also have Digium Switchvox Cloud, which is Digium managed. You basically plug in your phones and go. And the nice thing about that is that there's nothing on site that you have to worry about except for plugging in your phones. And Digium will maintain and manage the entire backend for you, including updates and things like that. I will point out, though, however, currently cloud services are only available in the lower 48 U.S. states. Okay, so, well, of course, there's some concerns. Well, what about on-premise appliances? I thought on-premise hardware was kind of passé and old school. Well, I'll just give you a couple quick instances of why I think on-premise is still tried and true and why some companies prefer that, mostly for capital expenditure reasons and return on investment, and to limit their monthly spend. So those three all kind of bundle together in terms of budgeting. Some companies simply like to be able to purchase an appliance, have their purchase cost done, and then there's nothing else to worry about after that. Of course, the only monthly spend at that point would be if you have to purchase new phones or no user licenses, or whatever services that go along with that. For example, POTS lines, PRIs, SIP trunks, and the like. And because it's on-site, you can control the entire implementation, including your carriers, and all your flexibility and stability as well. So if you want to decide that you want a secondary site set up with a second appliance that you want to use as a cold spare or warm spare, well, you have that complete control to set up the design however you would like. And so really, the only way to do that is with an on-premise appliance or with our VMware solution. And speaking of which, Switchvox for VMware, you do not need our dedicated appliance. You can run Switchvox in your own environment. Of course, you can also do this in a public or private cloud, which is becoming much more popular, having a data center somewhere else hosting your applications and just using a private connection or public connection between the two sites. And really, the benefit of the virtualized Switchvox is that you have the benefits of Switchvox layered on top of the benefits of virtualization. So you have disaster recovery options, you have higher levels of high availability, as well as easier scalability. So if you do not need, if you outgrow an appliance, well, you have to purchase a new appliance. With VMware, it's easy because if you just need more resources, you can simply add additional CPUs, RAM, hard disk space, etc., as part of your VMware solution. And of course, some people say, well, I don't want any on-premise. I want my data center empty. I want to have somebody else host everything for me, and that's fine too. The reason some people might go with that is because of the inverse options for on-premise. It's an operating expense, so it becomes just like your telephone service, your lights, meaning it's just a monthly cost recurring, so you reduce your upfront cost. You don't have to purchase any additional hardware. You can either lease or purchase your phones depending on your preference. And really, the third party becomes the responsibility party for everything. So as I mentioned earlier, Digium would take care of all the management, the maintenance, adds, moves, changes, so on and so forth. And really, that helps to give you a power of an enterprise solution without having to scale up your internal resources. So as long as you have a local network that supports connectivity properly to our services, you're all set, you're good to go. And because they're basically just phones that you can plug in from anywhere, it gives you some built-in continuity as well. So if in the event of a disaster, you take your phone, plug it in somewhere else. As long as our services are up and running, you are on your way. All right, so now that we've gone through that, let's go ahead and do a quick screen share, and I will show you for the next 10 minutes or so some options in terms of what things look like from a user and administration standpoint. All right, and hopefully this will start. And you guys can see my screen. And I know we just did a very, very fast overview of Switchvox. So if you have any specific questions, feel free to throw them in the chat panel now. I can try to answer them as we go through the rest of this live demo. And also, if need be, please stay tuned because I will give you some additional contact information for me at the end of the webinar. So here is the web user portal, which is what a user would log into. to start. And if they want to access features for their phone, they simply would go to the features menu up here, and then they can choose which option they're looking to access. So if they're wanting to do a call rule, so let's say I want to edit or make a rule that says, okay, I want my phone to ring, and then I want my coworker's phone to ring, and then I want my cell phone to ring. Well, I can go ahead and click on my call rules, which I mentioned were like advanced Find Me, Follow Me. So traditional Find Me, Follow Me, you would set it up on your phone. You would have to make changes on your phone. So if that other person wasn't there or you were on vacation longer than you expected, you really had no fallback option. You had no way to control that after the initial setup. So because this is browser-based and web-based, I can go in here from anywhere and I can make these changes on the fly. So here I actually already have a rule set up, and it's as simple as going into my interface here, and I can tell which actions I want to do. So I'm currently editing this rule. Right now, all this is doing is sending my calls to my cell phone. So if I wanted to make this go to a coworker first, I can simply click on this Create Action button. I can tell it I want to do a call forward. And then I can either select from the list or start typing a name. So if I start typing a name, it should do a lookup here. There we go. And I can say I want it to go to this person. And let's say I want it to do that after 3 rings. So again, this is all English readable. And the other thing I mentioned earlier about those help icons. So here's a little question mark right at the top of this page. If I click on that, I can see what these options are for this particular page. So that helps me if I haven't been here in a while and I need some little bit of help to figure out what I'm doing. We can go ahead and save the action. All right, and now it's put this rule at the bottom. So if I want to go ahead and move this up, and again, if I get confused in terms of what this rule is doing, I can easily read it in plain English and not looking at some special programming. So here I can look overall. So my name for this is what I called just forward to cell. And what are the actions going to do? Well, any time during any status, it's going to take my phone calls. And in this case, it's actually going to call my cell phone number here. And then after 3 rings there, it's going to go to my coworker's extension, which is extension 100. And I can read that very easily here. So after 3 rings on the previous rule, which was rule number 1, it's going to call that extension. And then the nice thing here is it's actually going to bounce back to my phone. So it's going to send the call back after 3 rings at extension 100. It's going to send it back to my voicemail, not my coworker's voicemail. So I've just created a fairly complex rule, fairly simplistically, just from this simple little wizard here. I can also do things like converge phones. And this is what I called fixed-to-mobile convergence earlier. And what this allows me to do is transfer calls to and from different phone numbers seamlessly and in the background without interrupting the call. So let's say I'm on this conference call right now. If I were to press my transfer key, well, star at my transfer key, number 2, I could go ahead and send this call directly over to my cell phone number and answer it on my cell phone without you guys having any notice that that happened. Why might I do that? Well, maybe I started this conference and I realized, you know what, I have a meeting in another half an hour and I need to get on the road to get there. Well, bad planning on my part, but I can handle that without you guys realizing by simply using the converged phones or fixed mobile convergence. And then, of course, well, maybe I got halfway down the road and they said, you know what, the meeting's canceled and I wanted to come back. Rather than having to sit on my cell phone for the rest of the call, because it's a converged device, I can now actually use the opposite star code, so star 1 for my main extension, and send it back to my extension 105 here on my desk. All very complex, but straightforward because of our easy web user interface. Now, one of the other brilliant things about Switchvox is what we call our switchboard. So I mentioned this is our real-time interactive call control application. It helps if I'm on the right screen when I click on this. There we go. And here is my particular switchboard. Now, I've got this set up the way that I like, and this the nice thing about switchboard is it is completely customizable based on each user. So I can set up a default panel for certain folks, but I can also customize it. So I've got things like my call panel. So in this case, I don't currently have a phone because I'm actually on a different extension, but I can certainly receive a call. So let's see what happens when I receive a phone call. So I receive a call coming in. If I dial the right number, which I did not, so let's try that again. I dial my extension. There we go, and I should see my active calls light up. Of course, this is a demo, so it wouldn't be a demo if this didn't work. Let's go and do it this way. We're going to do 1-0. All right, we're going to place a call out now. There we go. And we can see right on my switchboard, nice and easily, that I'm currently on a call and I'm speaking with John Smith at extension 102. I can easily click and place this call on hold by pressing that button, or I can do a transfer to another user, and again, the system will walk me through everything here. I can also look at my call logs through here as well. So if I wanted to easily have one-click access to placing a call back to John or these other phone numbers, I can. And I also have access to see status of other people in the organization as well. So if we look under queue member activity in the bottom right, there's a better way to show this to you. It doesn't show my mouse, I don't think. But here we can see I'm looking at information for John Smith. So I can do one-click dial to him right from here. I can dial his voicemail or intercom. And by default, the way that this works is this would actually call my phone first. And then it would, once I answer the call, it would go ahead and start the call to his phone as well. And okay. All right. And then once that is done, I can see other things on here like a wallboard as well. Again, this is all dependent on how I want to work on the system. So if I wanted to look up somebody in the company directory, let's say I want to find that kitchen phone, I can go ahead and click on that, and that will automatically start a call to the kitchen phone. All right, and from an administration standpoint, let's do a very quick look at that. So we have easy tasks, like I mentioned. So if we wanted to manage our extensions, here we have a list of extensions here. If I wanted to create a new extension, it's as simple as choosing what type of extension I want to add. I can click Create Extension. And it's as simple as entering an extension number. And it will warn you if you have the wrong number or somebody's already using it. So let's do a new extension number here. Okay, we just type in a first name, last name. We're going to give it a password. And it helps if I type the password incorrectly. Okay, and then we give it a PIN for voicemails. And it's as simple as that. Based on whatever template I used, I can take all the permissions, all the settings for the phone, all my outgoing call rules, any groups that I'm in, that all becomes part of this particular extension, so I don't have to add them to individual modules or permissions. And then as an administrator, something that used to come up all the time for me was trying to find out, well, what happened with a call. Maybe a caller says that I was on hold for 10 minutes before somebody answered the call. Well, the nice thing here is we have detailed call logs. These are available to both users and administrators, again, based on permissions. And so I can actually take a look and I can see exactly what happened. So I can see here we had a restricted call come into voicemail. We can also see something here like this call. And I can click on the details option. If I scroll in, we can see exactly what happened to that call. So I'd be able to go in and even down to the second, find out if a call came in maybe to our reception group, maybe it rang the group for a little while, then maybe they talked to somebody, maybe they got transferred to somebody else. So it makes it very easy from a troubleshooting standpoint to figure out what's happening in the phone system itself. And last but not least, I'll just quickly show you our IVR editor. As I mentioned, this was one of my favorite functions here. And let's go and look at this test one. Where did I put it? Here's an example. Okay. And so if we look at this example IVR here, we can see in plain English what's happening during this particular call when somebody hits this IVR. So it's going to wait for 1 second. If I hover over any of these links, it'll actually tell me what the sound is. So in this case, it's playing a sound. Congratulations, you've been properly configured. It's going to wait another second, and then it's going to give us our main tree. Press 1 for customer support, press 2 for sales, or press star to replay this menu. And as a administrator, this makes it very easy to set up customizations and actions based on plain English. So I don't necessarily need to know any special star codes, any special feature codes. And really, if you can think about it, you can create it in the IVR system. So we've had people create integrations with their customer relationship management applications or their databases from maybe a billing database. So you can actually have somebody enter their account number using an IVR. It will record that account number, send it over to your database, look it up, and then it can return an account balance or an order status. Really, really high level functionality from our IVR system, despite the fact that it is pretty simple to use and manage.